Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson is an ordained Centers for Spiritual Living minister serving the Center for Spiritual Living Greater Baltimore community as our spiritual director. As a lifelong learner with a passion for self-development, personal transformation, transmutation, and transfiguration, he has frequently been referred to as a Renaissance man and visionary New Thought leader who makes complex metaphysical concepts readily understandable and applicable. His mission is to live, move, and be an active member of society who serves to educate, elucidate, and emancipate people and communities to awaken and empower themselves. Authentic, compassionate, transparent, inspired, vibrant, and empowered is what ACTIVE stands for. And he continues to live his bliss as a teacher, minister, author, workshop and seminar facilitator, visual artist, ASL interpreter, and ASL performing artist, mentor, father, grandfather, and more. I love doing that. I give you Reverend Dr. Ray.
I'm not sure what to say about Tracy right now. Tracy Aloysia. Sorry. Don't laugh, Tracy. Happy early birthday. So, good morning, greetings, happy September, and all that good stuff. And we are diving into a new theme, the theme of work, but not just any kind of work. It has to be good work. And if we take the words of Emma Curtis Hopkins, who says, "My good is my God," then this good work must be God work. So pause and take that in. Good work being God work. We're going to dive into this whole idea of what work is and what work isn't, and more. Or as Tracy would say, and more. You're laughing again. Stop laughing. You and Eugene, man, and Ashlee and Dresden. So, what is work? Well, according to, what's her name? Merriam or Webster, one of them, or Merriam-Webster. Anyhow, you know who I'm talking about. As a noun, work is an activity involving some kind of, now they say, mental or physical effort done in order to achieve a specific purpose or result. Second noun, a task or other tasks that one undertakes, something that a person or something has to do. So why is this task being done? What is the reason? This thing has to do. Why do you has to do it? What are you doing? Why? What's the reason? See, we're focusing on this idea, this purpose, this result. No one simply works, quote unquote, for absolutely no reason. Tracy has a job working for Uncle Sam Why? Because she enjoys it? Well, she does, but she enjoys aspects of it. However, there are aspects she doesn't like, and she's looking forward to retirement. Now, does she said woo woo? Now, does that mean when she retires, Tracy will no longer have work? No, she's still going to have work because of what work actually is, which, as I said before, we're going to talk more about. However, work as a verb, to be engaged in physical or mental activity, action, in order to achieve said result, in order to do a work. Got that? Okay. And number two, some kind of machine or system that operates or functions especially properly or effectively. Properly or effectively. So when you hear me refer to how to be, when we are invited to be, when our spiritual imperative says to be excellent stewards, it means to effectively, properly, righteously do what we are called to do for a specific purpose or result. Just like when we are treating, what is the condition I am seeking to change? What is the end result? What is the, when I say and so it is, what is it that I am declaring to be true? Pause and breathe. Synonyms for work: labor, toil, exertion, effort, grind. Now, many of these you have heard, many of these we have used. Duties, jobs, tasks, elbow grease, service, and more. Now, some of these words, while being used for linguistic convenience, the energy of the word itself is not something that we want to take on or embody. You must toil by the sweat of your brow. Toil. Toil? I don't like the way that sounds. I don't like the way that feels. Toil. To grind. Well, I mean, I understand, you got to get your daily grind on. I understand the concept, but maybe. Well, I'll hold that in my consciousness for a minute and marinate on it because I'm not sure. Just being mindful of how do we speak about work? How do we speak about employment? How do we speak about this entire concept? Because there are often times when, we all know this, there are often times when somebody at a party, at a function, at a something, rolls up on you and says, what do you do for a living? What do you do for work? What do you do for a living? Years ago, that question used to really irk me because I legitimately didn't know how to answer it. I don't know. What do I do for a living? I mean, I do a lot of things. I was an interpreter and a public school teacher, and like a lot of, what do I do for a living? And I thought I had to quantify all of this stuff under one nice little Tupperware package to give to them so they would understand. And then I woke up one day and said, like she does, I woke up one day and said, I live and therefore act in alignment with spirit. That's what I do for a living. I live. Take that in. I live. I don't simply exist. I live. And because I live, capital L, because I live, I act. Treat and move your feet. I act. The activities of my life are in alignment with spirit. That's what I do because that's what I am. To which he just gets up off the bench and walks away because he doesn't know how to take that. Ernest Holmes says, this spirit is happy, whole, free, filled with joy, eternal in its existence, and can provide you with everlasting expansion. All your highest hopes and dreams have come and are coming from it. Now, pause. Can provide. Now, the thing is, it does provide. It provides all of it. It because it can't help but to. But the question is, when we get there, eternal in its existence, and it provides you with everlasting expansion. Are you willing to receive it? Are we willing to receive all that spirit, all that the universe is offering and providing us? Happiness, wholeness, freedom, the opportunity to be filled to overflow with joy. All of our highest hopes and dreams that come from this infinite and eternal power and presence, are we willing to embody it, to accept it, and to live from that awareness? Because if we are, then it changes the manner in which we live, move, and have our beingness. Because see, none of this is about the traditional capitalistic colonization idea of work. Because that idea of work will have you be buried in the ground, poor, broken, burned out, and destitute. Because that system sees individuals as disposable commodities on the conveyor belt of the CEO who says, money, 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 bring me money. I don't care who you are. Are you doing your job that my pockets are lined? See, this concept from spirit doesn't align with that. And yet that is what we are conditioned to work within. That is the framework of work for that system. Are we willing to change that paradigm, change that consciousness within our own selves, within our own lives, within our own communities, so that that system shatters and a new, more effective system is created? Because that system, as I said, would have you work harder. And we've heard, don't work harder, work smarter. And yet we still, work hard. Work even harder when no one else is watching. So we say that, work even harder. But wait a minute. Stay positive, work hard, and make it happen. You follow the consciousness that such quotes are implanting within us. Now, The Rock, great guy. Dwayne Johnson, great guy. And yet, this paradigm, be humble, be hungry, and always be the hardest worker in the room. Well, first of all, I got you. Be humble. That's cool. Be hungry. I'd rather not be hungry. How many of us have ever been hungry? And I don't mean just stomachs growling like I'm getting ready to run in the kitchen and get something to eat. I'm talking about hungry, like you haven't eaten for 3 days, hungry. You don't know where your next meal is coming from, hungry. Who wants to be hungry? You want to be fulfilled and satiated, because the hungry person is not necessarily the one who is fueled to live their lives to their utmost. Because as Maslow's hierarchy of needs addresses, you cannot ascend it until the bottom is fulfilled. As a public school teacher, the number of students that I would have who couldn't function during the day because they came to school hungry. And they weren't able, for whatever reason, because it varied, to get the school breakfast. So they weren't eating at home. They weren't able to eat at school. And yet we expect them to learn effectively, to behave. Bruh, I'm hungry. And when I'm hungry, I'm irritable. And so the fact that you just stepped on my new Jordans, or my old Jordans, my hand-me-down Jordans, whatever, the fact that you stepped on them, I'm ready to get suspended. Be hungry? No. Fulfill, satiate, be satisfied, and always be the hardest worker in the room, always be the most effective at what you do, at who you are. Be you. The hardest worker in the room would have us compete. Well, I need to see how hard Eugene is working, and then I need to work harder than him. I need to see how hard Dresden is working, and then I need to work harder than him. Well, what do either of them? I need to work harder than Ashlee. I need to work harder than Tracy. Well, time out. Am I doing this for me? Or am I doing it for the sake of competition? Because that's the system of colonization that would have us compete. Because we want to know who took my cheese. In this thing called rat race, who's out front? I'm not in a race. I have no one to race against. Unless we talk about going to the Olympics, which is a friendly competition. This ain't about life or death kind of thing. Pause. So yes, Dwayne, I hear you. And yet, breathe. Because if we are truly going to step into this living everyday wonder of what work is, then we really need to, we are really invited to, we are really called to a new level of deconstruction of the old paradigms and construction of the new. Verna J. Dozier says, I will know more and different things tomorrow than I know today. And I can even be open to new possibility, open at the top. New possibility that I cannot even imagine today. See, I may not be able to imagine a world that works for all, but am I open to new possibilities? Am I open to my greater yet to be? Am I open to Eugene's greater yet to be? Am I open to Dresden's greater yet to be? Am I open to Ashlee's greater yet to be? Am I open to Tracy Aloysius' greater yet to be? Am I open to, because am I my brother's keeper? You know, Cain and Abel, that question was asked. Am I my brother's keeper? And you have heard me say this before. I am not my brother's keeper. I am not my sister's keeper. I am not my gender non-conforming, gender fluid siblings' keeper. I am them, and they are me. So am I open to new possibilities, not just for me, but for every individualized expression of God? Am I open for, to, and through all of us elevating to a world that works for all? Elevating to all people. You want food? You got it. You need shelter? You got it. You need clothes? You got it. That we have more than enough to supply for everyone. Clean air, clean water. What's going on? What you in Mississippi? Y'all ain't got no water. Why not? Flint, Michigan. What's up with your water? Am I open to new possibilities that completely eradicate and change the paradigm that would have people be living in a city, a community without clean water, without food that is healthy, not pumped with so much antibiotics that it is now ruining the biology of, it is unbalancing the biology of our children, our families, our communities, and ourselves. Open to new possibilities that I may not be able to imagine today, but I am open at the top. I am open at the bottom. I am open to what I know, to what I am willing to know, to what I am willing to live, because I live in wonder. And not wonder like, I wonder what tomorrow's lottery number is going to be. I should play and get that $100 million. I'm talking about wonder and awe, where you look at the sky and there is a sense of wonderment at how wonderful life is. Because as Socrates says, wonder is the beginning of wisdom. Breathe. So when we think of this idea of work, work shows up in a great many ways. Do we think of the Alvin Ailey dancer, Alvin Ailey himself, as his dancing is his work? Do we think of RuPaul, that is RuPaul's work? Or is it their craft, their pleasure? See, years ago when I was studying public speaking, the instructor referenced this idea of public speaking is our work, it is our craft. And then fast forward, I'm getting my MFA in theater, and theater was referenced as our craft. We talk about craft, arts and crafts, art and crafts, the creation of, the craft. There's 2 movies by that name, The Craft, which references a coven of witches who use spells, spelling, the use of words. And what is one of the most famous words or phrases that we connect with magic? You know, here's the magician. What word does the magician say when they have their magic wand and they tap the hat? What is that? What is that phrase? What is that word? Abracadabra. Abracadabra, which the Aramaic etymology is, as I speak, I create. My word is made flesh. See this connection? Do we put all of this together, that our work is our craft, that when we are able to have fun at work, see, pause. You can't imagine the kind of cutting up we do very often before service begins. It's Eugene's fault most of the time. Well, Eugene and Tracy, it's all them. Tracy said, yeah, okay. And I'm sure Eugene is shaking his head right now. But that's cool, because he and I are going to have a conversation next time we meet at KFC. Not the chicken place, it's a different place. Anyway, are you able to have fun in your life? Because your life is your work. Your work is your craft. Your craft is your magic, because your magic is your word made flesh. Do you have fun? Because if you are able to enjoy, to be in joy about it, then there will be success. But if you are toiling by the sweat of your brow, gathering the grease that forms within your elbow, because it's elbow grease, and I can use that for my bike chain because it's rusty. If that's your concept, then what are you doing? You are simply collecting dollars and cents. You are simply engaged in a form of mental slavery, spiritual slavery, economic slavery, rather than I am able to find joy and pleasure in my work. So let's transition from this concept of work to our word for a moment, if you are ready. When we talk about work, I want us to recognize that work, and I don't know if Sue is on, today with us, but yes, Sue, we're doing another acronym. Work. Wielding the opus of religious science knowingly. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to explain what an opus is. I'm not going to explain what it means to wield. If you are interested in being able to do this, then you will take the initiative to find out. When he says wield, because I thought it said weld, but it's wield. What does it mean to wield? And what is an opus? And what would be the opus of religious science that I am knowingly engaged in? To what end? For what purpose? Pause and breathe, because we are shifting into the concept of the word. What is the word? Well, according to Ernest Holmes, we do not put the power into this word, but we do let the power of the law flow through it. And the one who most completely believes in this power will produce the best results. Do you believe that you have the power to speak truth? You know, we often say this concept of, speaking truth to power. No, see, Eugene and I had a conversation the other day, and we're like, no, I'm going to speak truth to force in a manner that is powerful. I am going to embody what it means for me to have the power and presence of all that is incarnating itself in, through, and as me. And when I encounter force, people who choose to exert their will in abusive and traumatic ways, who engage in the systemic oppressive system, then I will speak truth to that force, and I will do so with power. But in order to do that, I have to recognize and I have to acknowledge that my word has power, that I am the embodiment of that, and that when I speak it, the power of moves through it. Breathe. Ernest Holmes goes on to say, the starting point of all creation is the word of spirit. The word is the concept, the idea, the image or thought of God. Take that in. It is the self-knowing mind speaking itself into manifestation. The word back of everything is its initial cause. The point of all, the starting point of all creation is the word of spirit. And so when you speak, are you allowing that word, the word of spirit, rather than the word of oppression, the word of whatever that system is, are you allowing that word to speak? The word of toil and sweat, the word of work harder than everybody else in the room, even if it kills you. Don't do a 40-hour week to get ahead. Do 90. But my blood pressure, it doesn't matter. If you want to get ahead, you have to be willing to risk. Go a couple of nights without sleep if you must. But you do realize lack of sleep affects the brain function. And if my brain isn't functioning, it doesn't matter. Really? The exit is over there. Bye. Get out. Are we willing to remove that consciousness from our paradigms, from our lives? John 14:12. I tell you the truth. These are the words of Yeshua. I tell you the truth. Anyone who believes in me, who believes what I am telling you, will do the same works that I have done, and even greater. If you believe in what I am teaching you, you believe in what I am telling you, you believe me, then you will do what I am telling you to do. And when you do what I am telling you to do, you will be able to do exactly the kind of works that I am doing, and you will be able to do even greater works than I have done. Do we believe? Do we believe strongly enough to engage, to create, to do those works? Ernest Holmes says, what a marvelous conception of Jesus's unity with good. My good is my God. Jesus's unity with good and his command of the law. Not his asking of the law, not his pleading with the law, not his begging and beseeching of the law, his command of the law. He taught as one having authority, and not as the scribes, or as we would say, as TLC would say, not as the scrubs. He received He received inspiration from the Spirit, but he commanded the law. And if you believe in what I am telling you, if you believe the truth that I am telling you, if you believe in me and what I am teaching you, then you too will speak with authority. You too will command the law. You too will do as I tell you that I have done, as you have seen me do, as you have witnessed me do, as you have experienced, and you will be able to do the same and even greater, because you too will be able to command the law, because you will understand that your unity with good is no different than my unity with good. The only difference might be is I know it and you do not. I accept it and you do not. I embody it and you do not. I command it and you do not. That is the only difference. Reverend Ray says, our invitation, our spiritual imperative is not just to be excellent stewards, but to be masters of our works, masters of our craft. And the greatest work is our life itself and the impact and the influence our lives have on the earth and throughout the earth. That is the greatest work we could do, not the 9 to 5, but the 24/7. I am what I do. What I am being impacts and influences what I do in the world. Do I believe that I am simply my 9 to 5 occupation? Or do I believe as Yeshua instructed? Do I believe as Siddhartha Gautama the Buddha instructed? Do I believe in the lessons and the teachings of our New Thought legacy leavers, the Fillmores, Emma Curtis Hopkins, Ernest Holmes? Do I believe and do I act as one who believes? This week's opportunity to practice: no matter if you work, are retired, or unemployed, you have work. You are doing and work to do. Do you know what it is? Number 2, do you take time to wonder during your day? We make time for what matters. How might you be more intentional in making room for more wonderment, more of what is wonderful every day? And then lastly, have a conversation with 33 people. Sorry, have a conversation with 3 people. Tracy's like, how many? I don't even know 33 people. Have a conversation with 3 people about the opus you are creating with the power of your word and how this shows up in the 4 areas of your mental equivalent: your thoughts, the ways that you think, your beliefs, the way you communicate, your word, your emotions and feelings, and your actions. This week's declaration, our affirmation, I will say it first, and if you feel in alignment, then say it with me on our second go round. The good work I am doing is, the good work I am doing in the world is a wonder to behold. The good work I am doing in the world is a wonder to behold. Breathe. The good work I am doing in the world is a wonder to behold. And so it is. Now, let us anchor and ground, recognizing that this service is the very craft of spirit itself, that every aspect of it, the hands and bodies, the minds of the interpreters who use their craft to make this available to our deaf friends and family, congregants and community. Our new musician today who uses his craft of music and voice, of presence, to awaken minds and enliven hearts and bring God bumps on arms and necks through the power of love in song. Through Tracy, if I recall, Frank referred to Tracy as the hostess with the mostest, Tracy Alawusha, and all that Tracy brings and all that Tracy is. We breathe, recognizing that all of this, our master practitioner, Eugene, and the simple, powerful way that he shows up. And all of you who are watching live now or watching the recording later, nonetheless, that moment is now. And in this now moment, allow the love of the universe to be present in, through, and as you, to allow your consciousness to rise so that you speak with, so that you walk with, so that you move and have your beingness as one who knows your authority and commands the law as Yeshua invited. And so we know that this service is a demonstration of that. Every aspect of it, a demonstration of that power and presence and authority. Love made manifest. And the law says what? The law says yes. And because the law says yes, and we understand what that yes means, it means this is already answered prayer. From the moment Eugene started the pre-service meditation, answered prayer. Dennis's pre-service song, answered prayer. All of this, including your presence right here, right now, answered prayer. And so knowing that, I allow the wonderfulness of this moment to rise up as I surrender in gratitude and in deep celebration of how magnificent you are, we are, God is, life is, and so it is. Amen. Ashe,